Good morning. Today I want to talk about a couple things that have been on my mind for a little bit. Instituted some changes in my own life based on the recent data. And I just wanted to kind of share with you what's out there just so you know that you can make informed decisions. And really we're going to talk about alcohol, THC, and CBD. Alcohol is really an interesting topic. If you look back at the data, there's never been an article that says that alcohol is good for you. All of the studies show that alcohol is a neurotoxin, and that there really is no safe level to eke by for a healthy kind of alcohol consumption. When you look at the data and you look at the studies that have been published in the journals like Journal of American Medical Association, Science, other ones, they basically, the physicians in there talk about they don't really want to tell their patients not to drink because they're afraid of the backlash from that. So I'm just going to tell you the data says that there really is no safe level of alcohol. With that, you can take that however you wish. I personally have cut way back on my alcohol consumption. And I'm a cheap date these days, and it's kind of nice actually not to be drinking. My mental clarity is so much better. My memory's gotten better. And both of my parents were alcoholics, and they suffered through Alzheimer's in their later days. That's just not a path I want to choose. So I've really cut back, and I found that bringing a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer to the Super Bowl party, just going to give a great example, was totally acceptable socially, and it's fine. And in Santa Cruz, we're kind of lucky because we have great restaurants that are willing to make a shrub, which is a non-alcoholic cocktail, or you can get non-alcoholic versions of your cocktail, or most bars will have a non-alcoholic beer. There's a hole in the theory with the wine because there's this, or not the theory, but implementation of that, because there aren't great non-alcoholic wines, and I'm sorry, but we need to try to find some alternatives for that. The data on THC, now I'm a huge supporter of, or was a huge supporter of legalizing marijuana. And decriminalizing it, that's a whole different part of it, but legalizing it for recreational use, because I really thought that there was a role for marijuana in our kind of daily lives, just, or not daily lives, just kind of recreationally. It does help to relax. It can make kind of, makes things funny and interesting. Some people don't react well to marijuana, and they should definitely not take it. But I'll tell you, the problem with my problem with it is that we legalize marijuana, but we legalize, in my mind, like the 4% THC. There's 25% THC out there. And I mean, that means like you go to the liquor store and the only alcohol available is Bacardi 151, right? I mean, can you imagine like every single choice out there has got this high THC, and we're starting to see some negative consequences for this. And I know people are using it to go to sleep, and they're taking gummies, and there's a role for that every once in a while, but I really want you all to think about kind of cutting back to the lowest concentration of THC that you can, because our receptors are designed for micrograms, picograms, nanograms, tiniest amounts of this stuff within our own system. Because yes, we do have an endocannabinoid system in our body, everywhere from our retinas to our kidneys. Our cells respond to these endocannabinoids, which are CBD, CBG, THC, just to name a few of them. But we need to be careful because the industry is overwhelming us with these high doses, and they're what's called super physiologic, so way greater than our body would be normally producing. And I think even with the CBD gummies, I'm going to implore you to take the lowest amount of those drugs that will do the job, because we're getting kind of more and more, we're getting a little bit of, there's some addiction issues coming out, but even if it's not an addiction issue, it's really just overwhelming the neurologic system, flooding these receptors with CBD, THC, and other endocannabinoids that there's not used to that level. And we don't know what the downstream long-term effects are going to be. So, kind of the party pooper video, I'm sorry, but I would do as much as you can to limit your, the doses of CBD and THC, and try to see if you can knock alcohol out of your life. If you can't, just kind of really try to minimize that. Not moderation, because moderation is too much. It's really minimation. So, hit me with flurries of questions and emails, text messages and phone calls. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I just, as a physician, I got to let you know what the data shows, and then you can make the smart decisions on your own. All right, until next time, I'll see you.